It's Friday, Feedback Friday, the feedbackiest day of the week. It's Feedback Friday, and my microphone finally isn't freaking out this Feedback Friday. Yay! So it's Feedback Friday, and we're going to do a little bit on Monday's video, and then we're going to get into what the thumbnail's about, dealing with lowering the temperature. And the two things are kind of tied in, because I do find that we focus a lot on talking and how we say things. We don't focus a lot on the listening part of communication. And anybody who also listens to It's Not Therapy knows one of my top 10 phrases is listen twice before you talk once, because that, I think, that's a major part in turning down the temperature. And the tie-in to me with Monday's video, which went much better than expected regarding the comments, is that the majority of the guys who commented were like, yep, tried the casual sex angle, hated how I felt afterwards, stopped doing it, not interested. And then you got the one guy going on about disapprove science, and bringing up sex workers, which that is outside the parameters of the study. They were specifically looking for hookups. So it's always interesting to me how someone will pull something that is facts, not in evidence, to maintain their pre-existing viewpoint, instead of it recognizing that the data suggests that changing your mind would be better. And one person pointed to the significance of culture and ego, and how I don't even like mentioning MRAs because then they appear and they swarm. But the commenter said, I think the culture point is very important because a lot of MRAs try to sell Western culture, in quotes, where male promiscuity is accepted and female promiscuity is shunned as either the superior ideal, which tend to involve some regulation of men's sexuality, but still treats women's purity as a prize for his discipline or performance, or a biological inevitability. Men are hardwired to spread their seeds as much as possible, and higher status men have more access. And I did the commenter also said off the top, did a combination of, more ego-driven men want to raise their, body count to prove they have what it takes to attract women. Less ego-driven men tend to want an outlet for their sexuality without feeling ashamed for any lack of experience in wanting physical pleasure and or emotional fulfillment. While some women feel worse because they think they've given away the most valuable thing they have to offer without securing the emotional commitment that they were after, and thus it can't really be that good valuable. And yeah, I do think that, I know there's a real self-consciousness a lot of men have about not having a ton of sexual experience. And that's why we need to talk about this stuff, because I do think that most women who are more assured of themselves go, oh God, less experience means less to unlearn. And I know that's how I felt. That's how a lot of women I know who have had a lot of bad sex feel, because there is this intense understanding among women of male ego. And this is not a slam on men. This is ego as sort of that constructed concept of who you are. It's a very real pressure that's put on men, and so it's an intense sensitivity. And because of that, you're afraid to say, I don't like that, please do it differently in an intimate setting. Because if you've ever had a guy react very badly to that, you never want that to happen again, because not only is it frightening to be at the mercy of a guy who is suddenly very, very angry and menacing. But also, the guy tends to get extremely nasty and call you a bunch of things. Normally, in my experience, some permutation of slut, whore, or otherwise, lower status, because you know what you like and you know what you don't like, and that must mean you're a tramp. And it's a real issue, because as much as you go, it's, I've been reminded of late how much people go after people's sexuality and physical appearance and attractiveness over stuff that has nothing to do with that. So when somebody gets wounded in things that do have something to do with it, they get so much nastier. And I mean, I've got a front row seat to this stuff because, in another life, so to speak, when I was younger, I hosted a highly sexualized TV show. I still stand by that. It was not only, I think, perfectly valid, stupid entertainment, just to take people away from their troubles, entertainment. Note the topic of this video. It didn't hurt anybody, and I stand by what I did. That's the wrong answer, right? I'm supposed to feel guilty about all of that, because every person who decides they hate me and roasts me online goes after what a slut and untalented, and I think I'm all that, and I'm really fat, ugly, and old. And it's like, this has nothing to do with the topic of whether I am honest or whether I have integrity. Well, I guess they could say sluts can't have integrity. They can't keep their legs closed. But this is just, to me, what it looks like is it's just people trying to go for the cheapest shot they can possibly find, trying to inflict pain and provoke a reaction out of me. And that just shows how little they know about me, because I am so used to being called a fat, ugly slut whore who is past my prime. Shouldn't she just learn to shut up because she's so old? Oh my God, femcel. And this is from the right, this is from the left, and this is where I segue into this whole turning down the temperature thing. Because it's easy to say we need to turn down the temperature. But, I mean, Mike Johnson couldn't get a day before it's like, yeah, we need to turn down the temperature. Biden needs to go first. And this is the problem. Nobody other than Biden, who right now looks like Julius Caesar in a production of Shakespeare's Julius Caesar. Who knows by the time Monday comes around? Who knows by the time this video drops what that's going to be? It seems to be the media is dead set in forcing him to drop out. And that's its own form of ratcheting up the temperature. And I've talked to so many people this week who feel powerless and are scared. And I do think that the measure of a person comes out when people feel panic. And I talked to one guy today who says, if you want to make a video about this, do it. And I'm like, good, because he talked about something called, he called it small bean syndrome, ooh, small bean, where, oh, you shouldn't do this because it's wrong and you're picking on people. And then they think because they're small, they can do anything they want. It's that whole punching up phenomenon that you guys know I'm not a fan of. Punching up is still punching. If you want to own that you punched, great. I do. But there are a lot of people personally coming at me lately over dumb shit. Like, one guy is going after absolutely everything about me on Twitter because he was moderated on my Discord. And when he rage quit, I said, I can't work with you one-on-one anymore. You need actual therapy. You guys know my whole thing is I'm Leanna Kersner and I am not a therapist. So when someone does have something that the fundamentals can't address, when there's something that does require that, I have an ethical obligation to say, this is beyond my methods. And then I was going over emails with this guy because of how hot it got, and found the fact that he was continuing to bug me back in December after my father-in-law had died. And I told him at the time, please give me some time. My father-in-law has died, and he's decided to turn that into, oh, she didn't respond to me. How unprofessional. Like, yes, after I say, give me some time, and you keep emailing me, I'm going to ignore you because death in the fucking family. When people can't handle being moderated in a Discord, and that was one of the most... I was prepared for doing a Discord server to be very difficult. I was not wrong. What shocked me is how explosive people got and the accusations that came out of them when they were moderated. And the absolutely, to me, baffling. I've since learned that this is a Discord thing. The immediate jump to, oh, you just love power and you love the power over people. And this guy pulled a screen grab from, and he's not the only one that did this, but this guy's been going off the chain lately. He pulled a screen grab from the Discord where somebody said something, and I responded, I certainly hope you're not talking about me. As me lording my power over somebody. And all that was a tick from the way I was raised, where someone said something that looked like shade, and I went, Like, it didn't have anywhere near the intention or charge that was inferred. But apparently this is a thing on Discord of gang up on the mods, insisting they love to just throw their power around. Like, I would pick power-hungry people as mods. Like, I deliberately select people that are not like that. They know how to share. They're very community-minded. And most of the people that don't work out, I think we've banned 2. Everybody else is left because they didn't like the rules. And, you know, it was made clear to them that if you keep doing this, we're going to keep moderating you. You're breaking the rules, because our only rule in the Discord is listen to the mods. It's a very clear rule. You don't like it, don't participate, right? I realized I forgot to do the help support this channel. If you want to join our Discord that we think is full of some really great people, help support this channel, become a monthly patron, patreon.com/LeannaK, or buy a one-time Leanna Care session for someone who can use it but can't afford it, coffee.com/LeannaK. Both very, very, very important, and we send out links via this so people can join. The reason we do it this way is people are less likely to start shit if they have to pay to join. It's also a credit card verification. So there is some proof of identity of you are a real person. We like everyone to know that everybody they're talking to on the Discord server is a person who we vetted as a person. We can confirm. People can use pseudonyms all they want, but we have a basic idea of at least, okay, this person is a patron supporter, or this person is a coffee donor. And it just changes the nature of the conversation. And that's the one thing about turning the temperature down. You cannot keep things chill, especially on big topics like trans rights, or, same-sex couple rights, or race, or even things like college student debt forgiveness, because that's a very, very expensive proposition. And there's a lot of moral frameworks that go into it. And whether college debt forgiveness by the government encourages universities to charge even more intuition, waiting for the government to bail out students or like graduates. And these are difficult things. And as, somebody who's had to make difficult calls, somebody's going to be mad at you. People are going to hate you. One of the strange criticisms about me from the haters is, look how many people don't like her. For someone who's been around as long as me, I have relatively few really intense haters. You look at somebody like Keffels or Boogie. Like, Boogie's had a week, right? I'm not going to get into that. I don't know enough about it. I've heard from a lot of different perspectives. And this is the thing, right? You talk to one person and they have a very compelling argument. And then you talk to another person and they have a very compelling argument that comes to the exact opposite conclusion. And I wasn't there. I have no idea. I have no direct information on the Boogie situation other than I know, going through my own cancer scares, sometimes people jump the gun. Sometimes people have to talk about it to kind of feel like get their head around it. I am one of these people who just kind of dissociates and doesn't say anything. For people who don't know, I went through a period with the autoimmune disease. It wasn't that long ago where I got screened for cancer 6 times in about 18 months because of they have to eliminate all these other reasons that you might have these strange symptoms. And for some odd reason, the possible eye cancer was the scariest one. And then the day I was down for the test with the neuro-ophthalmologist was the blackout at St. Michael's Hospital. And that was just, it was something already stressful and just made it extra absurd. But it turns out, no, I didn't. I have an autoimmune disease that very few people have actually fucking heard of, which is fun because it's like, oh, what do you have? Oh, mixed connective tissue disease. What's that? Yeah. Right. And then I have people saying I'm faking having a disability. And it can really, there are days I just want to blast people. I just want to take the low road. And I want to spit back into the world everything that's been done to me. All the name calling, all the hate, all the demonization, all the accusations of lying when I know I didn't lie. And the reason that one frustrates me more than anything is some of the worst career moves I ever made involved telling the truth. And I'm just one of those people who I will, when it really matters, like white lies of, is this okay? And I'll say yes, even though it's not true, right? I try not to do that, but sometimes I'm just too tired. But the big things, like the whole Gamergate thing, I couldn't lie and say I couldn't see some valid points on the pro Gamergate side. I didn't agree with the tactics that were, the bad side of it, but I couldn't argue with them that there were certain issues with the way games journalism functioned. And so I was running a games journalism. And I remember thinking, just say nothing. But then my responsibility as a journalist to follow the story, and I did think it was important as a games journalist not only to talk to the people who hated us, but report accurately their position. Because if we can't do the job when we're the story, how do we have empathy for other people who we know, an article is going to be miserable for them for a while because it's not flattering, right? I think it's important to see how you behave in that position to continue to report on things responsibly. But that was the wrong answer in games journalism circa 2014. I still stand by what I did. But this is the thing. The consequences are so dire when you go against the pack. A pack with a K, not super pack. But we're getting to that. A lot of people don't have the stomach. They don't have the courage. And so they just say the right things at the right targets. And because those are the rules, and because there are so few people like, Liz Cheney, for instance, who's an anti-Trump Republican and lost her seat because of it. And Liz Cheney doesn't have to worry. Her family's really powerful, but still, a lot of people who are very well connected don't do what Liz Cheney did because they like being in power. So even though I disagree with Liz Cheney on a lot of political things, mad respect there. And I do think that that's my alternative suggestion to the whole turning down the temperature argument. Because turning down the temperature, it's a devil's bargain. Anybody who agrees to turn down the temperature, the minute they say something harsh and true, they're accused of hypocrisy. You can't agree to that, right? But treating other people with respect, whatever you can muster, that's something that's achievable, right? Even just respecting other people. I use this trick a lot. I treat people with respect as an offshoot of the respect I have for myself. If I make a complete ass out of myself, I do not expect other people to go easy on me. They never do. And so when someone is on Twitch being an asshole, I don't swear at them. I don't call them names. I show them enough respect to go defend your case. You want to come at me, bro? You got me? Bring it. That to me is showing a person respect. They have the opportunity to persuade me. They tend to completely shit the bed. And again, I will point out where the errors are. That's respectful, even if there's a bit of, I don't consider it mockery, but if somebody is hiding behind anonymity to be a dick and pull shit, I have no respect for that. Let me clarify, because a lot of people really believe in anonymity. There's a trade-off to anonymity. You have the right to be anon. But there are certain trade-offs to anonymity for me. I don't believe any accusation somebody won't put their name on. Period. End of story. It's just too easy to make up lies. There has to be some sort of verification process for, like, the Neil Gaiman situation. If he had just shut up, I would have been, I don't know what to think. But he talked. And so I took his version of events, gave him 100% benefit of doubt that he was totally telling the truth. And it's like, dude, that's still scummy. I gave him the respect to take his side, to take his word, and it's still shit. And a lot of people don't understand respect. They think it's about being nice, and it's not. Part of respect is assuming that if a person can dish it out, then they can take it. Now, that doesn't mean you're gonna respond in kind. You know, I don't start taking cracks at someone's weight, for instance, even if they call me fat, because I'm a recovering anorexic. And I understand much younger people who are struggling with body image, seeing someone do that has a negative impact on bystanders. So I'm not gonna. If other people do, that's their own thing they have to live with. I personally don't, because I know that I grew up in the age of Kate Moss and the heroin Calvin Klein chic, and it really affected a lot. Now, obviously, it starts in the home, right? I'm not saying media has a overwhelming effect if you're getting more positive reinforcement elsewhere. I wasn't, okay? I was a competitive dancer. I was, a youth entertainer in the 90s when super duper skinny was the trend. It sucked to be like, these just grew this way. I stick out here too. The lower bit, the junk in the trunk, is bigger than the sweater meat, right? So technically that violated YouTube rules, but it was a euphemism. I'll live dangerously. Oh no, they changed that rule. Right. Okay. Whew. I'm still good. But I won't do that to other people, because I know it's not harmless. Just because I don't cause someone's eating disorder doesn't mean I can't be careful about not making it worse. And again, that's respecting what I went through. Respect goes both ways, I think. When you disrespect someone else, you are disrespecting yourself. That's why diss tracks in hip hop have such firm community rules, right? If you label something a diss track, people take that in the spirit it's given. This is not Kendrick Lamar, for instance, at his best. This is Kendrick Lamar in diss track mode. The same way it's Slim Shady, not Marshall Mathers, not Eminem. They're different personas, right? So they're different headspaces. And the reason, because, I grew up, James Finch represent, respect was everything. You could beef with somebody as long as there was respect. And that's my standard for disagreement. You can disagree with somebody. You can even beef. And beef is beyond disagreement, right? But if you don't show respect, that goes against you, not the other person. If you go too low, that hurts you. And then I got into a very different social class environment, and that wasn't there. Then it's politeness, then it's civility, which means people can disrespect you to your fucking face and you're not supposed to react because, I didn't, it was just a joke. People would do these stupid digs, like acting like they didn't know you in front, introducing themselves to you like you were a total stranger because they were mad at you because you didn't call them enough. And I have no patience for that. I don't respect that. But that is the norm in some spaces. All I can do is not allow that in the places I have a certain amount of say in. My personal conduct does not reflect that. That's why I have a rule for myself. If I am pissed at someone, they know. They don't have to worry that I'm pissed off at them and I'm just silently seething. Not everybody can handle that. But in terms of my responsibility to, quote unquote, keep the temperature down while not stifling speech or conscientious disagreement, that's the best way I know how. Because then if you honestly believe that someone is a threat to democracy, you can say it because you respect the threat that they pose. Now, that's not permission to go hyperbolic, because hyperbolic's not respectful. And this is why I have my gender theories that I do. And it was funny because somebody found a comment from a student from one of my lectures who was so salty because they were like a Sarkeesian type and went to Stalker Chan and, oh my God, she lectured at my school. And there's a reason I keep getting invited back to do these lectures, because most people really like what I do, because part of respecting women is recognizing that if you think women need protection from everything, emotionally as well as physically, in a way men don't, you don't respect women. Women are absolutely capable of emotional maturity and resiliency and distress tolerance. We're socialized with different strengths and weaknesses there, but women are just as capable as men of that. And let's face it, when we're at this point of physical size and strength does not protect us from most of the threats in our modern world. The reputational damage. It doesn't matter, if you're built like Jason Momoa or The Rock, right? It doesn't matter how big you are. Someone can take you down with lies. Muscle doesn't stop bullets, Even, I won't get too much because YouTube rules, but respect keeps you honest. Respect keeps you level. And ultimately, it goes both ways. Respect is earned. I completely believe that respect is earned. And that's why I give the other thing of I must communicate in a way where I am respecting myself. Because me going on a bunch of appearance-based attacks on someone, I'm not respecting my past struggle. Make sense? So in that case, it's not about the person I'm dealing with, who I have absolutely no respect for. Do I have respect for people that take pot shots about my looks, age, and weight behind an anonymous handle? No, I have no respect for that. It is cowardly as shit. When I make an accusation about somebody, I do it here where you can see me and you can hear me and it's clear I have said it. So I don't respect that behavior. But I'm not going to start behaving like someone I don't respect because I have enough respect for myself. And I think a lot of people in these political spaces don't understand that concept. And that's why, their side does horrible crap. Oh, it's fine because, the other side's evil. And both sides do that. That's what it's a vicious cycle, right? Because both sides can point to horrible crap that somebody on the other side did, and they both have points. Because in movements that big, there are people who fuck up and behave badly. But does that mean it's representative of the entire group? Maybe not. And that's extra bad, which is why I don't understand why some trans activism functions the way it is. And some people, some people aren't really activists. They're kind of speaking for themselves and their personalities. And, it becomes, it's different when someone's just speaking for themselves as opposed to when people are speaking on behalf of a collective, right? You have an extra responsibility when you're speaking on behalf of a group. But I don't understand why people who advocate for very vulnerable people like the trans community, why they get nasty and attack people's looks and really go base and focus on things people can't control instead of things that are relevant. And the reason I draw that line is, for instance, J.K. Rowling complaining about trans people getting gender affirming surgery when she's had, she's approaching Joan Rivers, rest in peace, amounts of plastic surgery. Personally, I believe people can do what they want with their bodies. If she's happy with the way she looks, great. It's just very hypocritical to complain about what one group of people does with with their body, while J.K. Rowling expects me to call her a redhead because this grew out of my head this way. Even the white bits, I punch it up a little, but this is in concert with what is happening. It was an excuse to look more like Rogue from X-Men because I don't want to start dyeing my hair because then you get the roots. And anyway, see, I'm so honest, I'll do a fact check on my own hair. And that's because, again, I respect you guys enough to be frank with you. And that doesn't mean talk about everything. I don't mention family that often because people go after them and I feel awful. And I can't handle them being mocked and disrespected because I was dumb and included them in my content. So I don't talk about it a lot. I learned that lesson when the Ralph retort went after my fucking mother. Went after my mother's looks. I went to a Star Wars movie with my mother and I was super happy that I was at Star Wars with my mom. So I took a picture of us and went on about how I had bad genes and, oh, she's going to look real rough, and age and weight and looks again. And my mother is in her 70s and it's like, how the fuck dare you? What does that say about someone who would do that? Exactly. That's why I don't behave that way. And that, I think, is a better expectation of people than saying turn down the temperature. Because you can't expect people, when someone's blasting them with heat, to not respond with ice, right? And ice isn't temperate. Ice still burns. Respect. Let's respect each other. even when it's hot, even when it's really cold. Respect. Help support this channel. Become a monthly patron, patreon.com/Leanna K, or buy a one-time Leanna Care session for someone who can use it but can't afford it. Coffee.com/Leanna K. Your support is really, really, really important in me being able to do the content on this channel and help people going through financial issues, sorting out stuff that can help them get a job and things like that. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend.